We'll begin with a reign of terror. A few murders here and there.
Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome back to Blood and Guts, HHN. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the houses of Halloween Horror Nights 33. With me, as always, Mad Matt. How's it going, Matt?
I'm doing fantastic, Evil Adam, because as you know, we're now just a few weeks away from the event, and I keep getting excited just thinking about being back in the fog and seeing all those scare actors. So,
Yep.
like I said, I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah.
How about yourself?
I'm excited, too. I can't wait to get down there and do our usual traditions that we have.
Right.
And hopefully meet some cool people and have some good drinks and food and just take in the event. Just take it in with cameras and eyes and ears and all the senses, you know.
And seeing the tour.
Yeah, doing the tour, the 6-house tour, and just having a good old time.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So, and as usual, as we do every year now, Friends and Fiends, one thing we always like to do is give you a hot video for the haunted houses that they have at Halloween Horror Nights, and we're going to rank them from 10th all the way to number 1. Mm-hmm. So, but don't get angry if you see a house you're really hot for is down at 10, because these are just our opinions. Mm-hmm. But I can say personally, and I know you probably feel the same way, I really don't think that there is a terrible house this year. But there's just some I'm way more excited for than others.
Right, and these are subject to change, like you said. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and kick it off. What's your number 10?
I've got the first one is an IP, and it's A Quiet Place. And I recently saw the new prequel, and I thought that one was good for what it was. And if you have a chance, Friends and Fiends, I do have a review out there for it under Mad Matt the Movie, so go check that out. But as you know, A Quiet Place is just not really a franchise that has a lot of rewatchability for me. Like I said, I've seen the first one, I skipped the second one, and I've seen the prequel. I think they're fine as far as what they are. I think the house itself has an opportunity to move up because with having the creatures and stuff, if the creature effects are done well, the sets are done well, the scare actors bring it, then it definitely has a chance to move up. But what worries me is kind of like what we discussed in the past. It could be a house too where, not kind of like a Chupacabra, where there's only maybe a few puppets throughout the house, and the rest of it's just scare actors coming through and shushing you, or walking along, just telling you to be quiet. And I think if it does do that, I'll really be disappointed. So I'm hoping that this is one that will move up and does all the things that I just talked about and do them right, and avoids the pratfalls of what it could be. So I know that it's talked about doing ASL, American Sign Language, in here, which is awesome. Like I said, because the ones that are hearing impaired will get to experience that and have something for them. I won't know what they're doing with the hand signals, but like I said, I will think that's a nice touch when they do bring that in here. So, throwing it over to you then, what do you have for your number 10?
Number 10 for me is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Mm-hmm. I, as you know, did not care for this film. Mm-hmm. I think I texted you and left you several angry messages. Not angry at you, but angry at the plot of this film. And I didn't really see in this film a lot of sets or areas that I thought, wow, that's going to be great for a house.
Right.
You know, and even in the film, my favorite ghost was the one they showed the least, which was the really intimidating, scary-looking one that kind of hid in the fog.
Right.
And then would kind of come out and back off a little bit, that they had in the little containment science lab.
Yeah.
That was my favorite ghost. They didn't give us any lore on it. They didn't go into anything about it. But I'm sure that we'll have it in the house, and I don't know why, because you still won't know anything about it. And so I can go on a rant about this film, but I'm not going to do that here because that's not what this is about. But yeah, Ghostbusters, maybe it's a cold house. I hope it is, because I like the cool, but that's so far the only thing that's redeeming it in my eyes is the fact that it will be a chance to cool off. So that is at number 10 for me.
Okay, we'll go ahead and keep it right with you. What do you have for your number 9?
Number 9 is Quiet Place, for a lot of the same reasons that you spoke on. I have a feeling that it will be a lot of characters who are the victims who make a noise, and then you have maybe a creature puppet come out to attack. And a lot of, if you've ever seen the show Always Sunny in Philadelphia, rude man who shushes, so they'll have a lot of that going on. Right. And I really hope it wows me. I hope every year I say this. I hope that my low houses somehow surprise and wow me and climb to the ranks. And we'll see if that might happen.
It very well can. Like I said, I think about last year. Last year, my least favorite was Blood Moon. And then that ended up being my favorite house.
Yeah, we had that ranked pretty low because we didn't know.
Right.
We thought it was kind of like Spirits of the Coven.
Right.
And look at where it turned out.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think this one would make that type of jump, but like you said, it may shock me.
Right. So let's kick it back to you then. What's your number 9?
Yeah, number 9. I've got Museum Deadly Exhibit, and this is one of those where I think actually does have some room to move up if they do a lot of things right. Mm-hmm. What worries me is the backstory of it. I'm just not really too keen on it. It almost seems like it's going to be like a fun house. I'm hoping it's not focusing just like on mummies, because we get a lot of that. But now, if they did do this house, and kind of like we talked about in the past, if it's like not the museum, but have it on steroids, like you have like a crazy historical figures like zombified or like monsterfied, maybe some dinosaur skeletons, some crazy stuff like that, then it could be a fun house.
Yeah.
Just from the generic backstory of it, how you're a tour guide with a field trip, and you go in there and things start becoming possessed. I mean, like I say, it could be good. It doesn't have me hyped for it yet. That's the best way to say it. But if you have good set pieces in there, because I could see this one having set pieces, because maybe you're walking in, one's like a dinosaur artifacts, like I said earlier, and then you go into another one, maybe it's like the Ice Age, where you got like some crazy stuff like that. And it could be a lot of fun. So that's what I have for my number 9. And moving on to number 8, one you've already spoken on, I got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Mm-hmm. And for the very same things you said, like the movie, I didn't outright hate the movie, but I did not love the movie. I was very disappointed in it. For the same reasons you were, like it wasn't really a lot of Ghostbusting in it at all. You had the very beginning, and then she gets sidelines. I hope not spoiling anything. I mean, it's been out a little bit, but kind of leaving it at that. I do think this one could have some redeeming factors in it, though, as a house. I think if they take what was strong in that movie, like you have the firehouse, have it all frozen up, and like you said, have like cold aspects.
Cool. That
would be really good. If you see like the characters actually busting some ghosts in there, that would be a lot of fun.
That would be more busting than they had in the movie. But
yeah, exactly. So I mean, they're going to have to amp up something.
Yeah.
They bought that car at the beginning of the year, and we still have not seen it in the parade.
Yeah, it's supposed to be for the parade or the house.
So
we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, you think now it's got to be for this house. So I will be looking forward to seeing the car. But I'm hoping, based on what they have at the map, I hope they do something to the old firehouse. I know they got Rip Rod coming through, but I hope they dress that out a little bit to where it still looks like the old firehouse.
Do something.
I would love to see a scene, and this is just me wishing, but I'd love to see a scene in the New York Public Library like they had in the movie. Now, I think that would be a good set piece, and you have that librarian ghost or the lion statue that you see in the preview as well. That could really bring this house up on my list. But if it could easily, like you said, it could easily stay at number 8 if there's really nothing awe-inspiring to it.
Right.
But
and can I just say one more thing about the Ghostbusters house? Mm-hmm. Is I know that, and I had heard a rumor and a promise that we were going to get a lot of the classic ghosts, which it did show the librarian, I will say that. Yeah. But we were going to get the Scoleri brothers, and we were going to get the taxi driver, who's this part skeleton, part ghost from part 1, and all that kind of stuff in the film, and we didn't get that.
No.
But if they happen to appear in the house, that will be cool, but it still will be more than they appeared in the film, and that's all I want to say about that.
Also, they might, because I know it was like a lukewarm reception. The best way to put it is a lukewarm reception, because it has its fans out there, and if you love the movie, like I said, everything is subjective. So if you love it, I'm not going to disparage anybody for liking it.
Right.
But hopefully they'll take the weaknesses and it's like, you know what, let's leave that out.
Right.
And maybe we can enhance this by, like you said, putting in some classic ghosts that people are going to recognize.
Exactly.
So kick it over to you. What do you have for your number 8 house?
Number 8 for me is Insidious The Further. And I will say that the only reason that it's low like it is on my list is because I feel like the other ones I'm more anticipating, more hyped for.
Right.
Now, however, I will say this, friends and fiends. I believe that if they do this right, it is going to be dark and it is going to be scary as hell, kind of like Exorcist was last year.
Right.
I mean, you got that breathing ghost. What I don't know all the technical names for the ghosts, but
Right.
you have the woman in black. You have the breathing ghost with the dirty scrubs from the hospital with the breathing mask on.
Right.
You have the key demon, and you have all these different demons. Now, if they do this right, yes, it is going to be terrifying.
Right.
And I don't think there's going to be, you know, every year there's kind of a comedy house. This one ain't going to be it.
Right.
This is going to be one that scares the hell out of you, and that's its goal.
Right.
And if they pull that off, this might even jump up high on my list. But right now, I am stoked for it, just because I like the way that the ghosts each have different individual personalities and powers.
Right.
But because I'm more hyped for the others, it remains at number 8 for me, and we'll see where that falls when we get back.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's go ahead and we'll stay right with you. What do you have as your number 7?
number 7, I have Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. I'm kind of stoked for this. I really, really think that they're taking a big swing with this story. I mean, you got the bride. She's teaming up with Saskia Van Helsing.
Right.
And taking on Dracula's daughter and the she-wolf and the female mummy character, Anixu Mon or Min, or however you pronounce that. But this, I feel like if they can knock this out of the park, and it's kind of like Bride from 30,
Right.
it's going to be awesome. But I think that it's a big swing. It's a Casey Jones
Yeah.
of a swing, you know. So you're going to have to hit a home run, and we'll see if it pulls it off. I'm looking forward to the sets.
Right.
I'm looking forward to the sights and the smells and the sounds of this house. And I heard that the score was going to be awesome. You know, as it's provided, the score for this house will be done by I believe that the composer. I don't remember what film she scored, but I know she scored. I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. One of the seasons of Planet Earth or one of those type of shows, and that's awesome.
I haven't heard, but that doesn't shock me because I know they said for Epic that Danny Elfman's going to score the Monsters Land music. So
So the score will be epic for this.
yeah, they go all out for it. So kicking it over to me then, my number 7th house is going to be Insidious The Further, and it's for exactly the same reasons you mentioned. I think this is going to be a scary house. I love the fact, like you said, all the monsters, not to be or repeating, but all the monsters are different in their own way. Like you have some that are malevolent, and you have some that are like, you know, just downright mean and wanting to kill you.
I think it's going to be dark too.
Yeah.
Not as in dark as in content, but dark as in you can't see a thing. This is the house where you're going to bump into the person in front of you,
Right.
and the person behind you is going to bump into you. This happens every year.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
honestly, for me, like I said, this is one I can see moving up because the only reason I have it at 7 is because I've only seen the first movie, and I liked the first movie for what it was, but I never really felt the need to go watch any of the other ones.
Right.
So I don't really have a deep. I couldn't speak to you in very deep about all the monster or all the spirits that they have,
Yeah.
what they do. So it'll almost be like a learning experience for me, unless I do get the time to watch the films before I go. And if I do that, it may move up on my list. But
Right.
it's like I said with the Exorcist slasher, I could see this one definitely moving up just because it has all the good ingredients that you want in a house. And so if you got those set pieces and the fact that you are in the Further, which is their realm, and you go in seeing them on their turf, like I said, that does have me excited for that.
Yeah. Totally.
So moving on to number 6 is another one that could be a dark horse for me is Triplets of Terror. Like I have it as 6 because it just seems like the premise of it is something you would see at like your local haunt that wouldn't have a whole lot because you just got your rednecks slaughter people. They just go around
Redneck
murdering.
torture family.
Yeah, redneck torture family. There you go. And but I've heard the rumor that one of our favorite designers designed this house, Koloff. And if he did design this house, I know if I actually got confirmed, that would probably move up for me just because he done the Dead Man's Pier, Blood Moon, and like a Chupacabra. Even though Chupacabra was not a house I loved, the set pieces that he created,
Yeah. The design aspects were beautiful.
fantastic. So this is one, like I said, I can easily see moving up. Especially, I'm hoping it's on the tour if he is the one, because I just love seeing the sets that he creates. If that one's true, because I know there's a rumor that possibly another one we talk about a little later on that he may have designed as well.
Right.
But like I said, I think this one could easily move up. It could stay down, but I like it. It may stay the same, but if it is designed by him, I think I'll enjoy it. So,
Oh yeah.
kicking over to you then, Adam. What do you have for your next house?
Number 6 for me is Goblins, and the reason is because I listened to the Universal podcast with the Goblins story, and yeah, it was whimsical, and there's a bit of comedy in there, and a little bit of violence, which is what I think the house is going to be. I think it's going to kind of be like Dueling Dragons.
Yeah.
And, there's going to be goblins and orcs and witches and things like that. And that's cool. And hopefully the sets are really cool. But for me, it's going to be more whimsical as well as violent, which is fine for some. But for me personally, just is keeping it kind of low at number 6. And we'll see if it falls. Out of all of them on my list, I will say that I think this one has quite a bit of potential to fall lower, like heavily,
Right.
or rise heavily. So we'll see.
So you see it as a possible dark horse for you then?
Yeah, it could be. There's a couple of this year that seem that way, and this is one of them.
I feel that way
So
with you.
yep, that's why I have it at number 6.
Keep it with you then. What do you have for your number 5?
Number 5, I have Museum. And the reason I think that Museum could also be a dark horse, and it could be if it's done right and if it's done dark, and maybe they don't even play around with the fact that, oh, here's a possessed knight in shining armor, or here's a dinosaur. Let's say they don't even go that route, but they turn it into like a Darkest Deal kind of house that's just dark and twisted and nasty, and this supposed stone that's possessing everything is just something evil and awful. It's turning everything evil. So then it has.
It'd be nice when you mentioned stone if they tie it to the amulet from Monsters Collide a few years ago.
Yeah, and that would be fine too. But I think this one also has the potential to be kind of a dark horse. So it's falling at number 5 for me. So let's see where that lands when we get back.
Absolutely. Kicking it back over to me then for my 5th house, as one you've already spoke on, I got Goblins Feast, and I listened to that same podcast as you, and there's some parts in that podcast I'm like, man, this could be silly, and then there's parts I'm like, man, this could be a really good house if they do it right, because if you go in, say like you're in the forest, and then you see like the cottages that these goblins are in, you see them slaughtering people and then making them into like the feast, like they were talking about in the story.
Right.
Those are all elements I think could be awesome, and looking at the designs of the goblins and the orcs and everybody looks amazing. So for me, this is all going to hinge on the set pieces and how dark they take it. It doesn't have to be super dark, but if you have that good mix of Dueling Dragons, like you mentioned, mix that with Blood Moon from last year, I think you have a house that could knock it out of the park. But at the same time now, if they go too whimsical with it, like you're talking about, it could definitely fall way down the list.
My fear is that it's going to be that comedy house a little bit.
Right. Because, I mean, when you listen, Friends and Fiends, if you go listen to Universal's YouTube page.
Yeah, Discover Universal, I believe is what it is. Yeah.
And, I mean, it almost sounds like a Christmas story when they're reading it to you. It's like, oh,
yeah.
Happy Goblins Feast, everybody. I mean, that part's really silly, but everything behind it, like I said, it could be good. Yeah. So, keeping with me, I have for number 4, I've got Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. And I am excited about this house. I know when we were discussing earlier this week, you'd almost take from what I was saying that I was really not looking forward to this house. And for me, the part that's really lacking for me is the story, like how we got to where we are. I would have loved to seen something in between to kind of bridge the gap, because like I said, I could be wrong, because there's years I have missed. I don't remember Van Helsing ever making an appearance at any of the houses. So for me, I would have loved to seen him. So we're going right to his granddaughter, which is fine, because what has me excited about this house and has it ranked at number 4, the set designs of where it's going to be, like in the castle. You have that gothic imagery. Like I said, the smells that we'll be smelling, because I think about all the other monsters' houses, how they have those unique smells to them. And like the vampire designs, the she-wolf, the mummy, all those designs that we've seen look awesome.
They do look really good. Yes.
And so that had and the bride. I almost forgot to mention the bride. The bride
looks
awesome.
good. Every creature and character, from the makeups and not the makeup, but the molds and the life casts look really awesome. So this one, like I said, there's several on this list that have a chance to
Yeah.
quickly jump to number 1, 2, 3, or 4.
And that's part of the reason too. Like, man, maybe this one's kind of living on the nostalgia of the other houses, because none of the other Monsters houses have ever let me down. They've always been
Right, and that's
very, very good.
That's true.
So moving back to you, then, what do you have as your number 4 house?
Number 4 for me is Triplets, and I was thinking about this earlier, and I thought, yeah, it's described as what's good. What I would picture as a slasher, like a Wrong Turn,
Yeah,
Heels Have Eyes,
Yeah.
kind of slasher, and that's cool. But we are thinking that if it was designed by a certain person, and it's not your mom and pop's corn maze down the street. This is Halloween Horror Nights. We're talking
Right.
about designing a slasher, and not a slasher based on a franchise.
right.
Their own original
Their own
slasher,
creation.
that they can take these 3 characters, this murder family, and they can do whatever they want to with them.
Mm-hmm.
This has the potential to be a very bloody house. You know, every year there's one house that's particularly very bloody.
Yeah,
I think this year we do have an option for a few different bloody
Yeah.
houses, but I think this is your big blood house.
yeah.
And if it's designed really well, I think it has the potential to be really good. So that's why that's at number 4 for me.
I'm gonna piggyback on you a little bit for that one, because I mean, you do make a fantastic point with this being an original house, and that's another reason why
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. They're not confined in a box of what they have to do with this house,
No.
with it being an IP. Like you said, they can
an
go.
original slasher that
Yeah,
you can play
go
with these
crazy with
characters.
it.
You can have them ripping guts out, anything you want,
Uh-huh.
you know, and you don't have to worry about Netflix or somebody coming down on you saying, "No, you can't do that." So I think it's going to be like I said, another dark horse that could quickly rise or
Yeah.
or fall.
I have to agree with you. Keeping it with you, then, what do you have as your number 3?
Number 3 is Major Sweets, and I really like this Scare Zone from 31, and I really, really am excited to see what they do with this. I did listen to this one on the podcast, and that story was great. They played it, and if you haven't listened to it, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to tell you, they play it off as a 1950s radio show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got the "What will little Timmy do next? Let's find out," kind of thing. So
Right.
it's all 1950s and 60s, like old time radio show that you would listen to, your grandparents would listen to.
Right.
And so I really like that, and to see the crazy kids hopped up on the candy, it's got the poison in it. I'm really excited to see what they can do with this.
Yeah.
This has the potential to be awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one as well. I'm actually just going to lead into, because that's my number 3 as well. So Major Sweets also, and I think about that Scare Zone in 31, and how beautiful that Scare Zone was, the vibe it had. This one here, was another one where it's rumored that Koloff may have designed, and so if he did.
That rumor's all over the place.
It is, and that's why that's one that gets me. Like, now this one here, whether he designed or not, I'm excited for it.
Right.
The only thing I'm worried about is the fact that it is in the Fast and the Furious building, which we know in years
notoriously
past.
small.
Yeah, small,
notoriously small,
constrained space. So I would like to see how they're going to make it feel like a factory in there, because a factory's got to be huge, because you have all the conveyor belts and things like that that's going to be creating the candy. But
and everybody's really wanting it to be like Willy Wonka,
Right.
Like a twisted version of Willy Wonka. So we want to see that.
I want to see a twisted version of Willy Wonka, and I also want to see a mix, because I've been saying this all year, a mix of Halloween 3, because it
Yep.
talks about how it all ties into the legend of Halloween.
Yep.
And so I would love to see that. I know, listening to the backstory, like I said on that other, what you said was the podcast.
Yeah,
or-
Discover Universal.
Discover
the
Universal?
Podcast, yeah.
This one has me as well, just having heard a little bit more of that backstory to it, leading up to the time of the house, and just hearing them talking about the taffy and all that fun stuff. It has me really excited. I think this one too has a chance to be, I'm not going to say necessarily bloody, but gory, because I remember in the Scare Zone it had a lot of gore in it, like where the kids were poisoned and you just had
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
dark blood.
Yeah, you
on
have
it.
blood and puke and all
Yes.
the good stuff in this.
Yeah, exactly.
And the house is going to have very interesting smells. I predict there'll be cotton candy.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be bubble gum, fruit flavors, and different smells that you're going to have. And then they might even hit us with a couple of really bad ones, too.
Yeah.
And, like, we're always ready
I could
for
see,
that.
I could see, like
So-
you said, puke would be a smell in there, because you think about the extras last year and the famous poo smell that they had in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Had people vomiting.
Yep.
So moving right along then,
I believe, are our top 3 the same?
They are exactly
Okay,
the same.
so we'll just roll with number 2 for both of us. Then.
Okay.
Is Monsteros, the Legends, or the Monsters of Latin
Latin
America. Yeah. And go ahead and tell us why you're looking forward to this.
For me, I had it kind of like what you mentioned with Triplets of Terror. You talking about you want a blood house. When this one was at Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood, it was notorious for being a bloody house.
Okay.
So that has me excited. I went back and watched that video multiple times, and just seeing the legends of all three of the specters and ghosts and legends and myths of this house, just like I said, has me super excited. The creature designs are amazing. The set pieces out in Hollywood, they for the most part look good. They're a little bit more constrained with their space. I'm expecting Universal Orlando to amp it up and have bigger sets.
Oh, yeah. I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they'll step it up.
Not
I think
so
this one's going to be a sleeper that kind of isn't a sleeper.
Yeah.
But at the same time is. I think this one's going to be just, I mean, you talk about some of the houses on this list are going to be more like you're taking in the scenery from over here.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of the houses on this list are going to be up in your face.
Right.
And I think this is one of the ones that's going to be right up in your face. Mm-hmm. With the creatures are going to be right there on you. And I feel like this is one of, as well as Insidious might be one like that too. But
yeah,
this is going to be
right
in your face. Boom. We're going to just throw an onslaught of these creatures at you. Mm-hmm. And you're going to come out feeling like, holy shit, did I survive?
Now, one thing I will say, because I really think this is going to be a good house. Now, I hope they don't go the Hollywood route and hit us with the part 2 next year. That's one thing I don't. I like to at least let it sit,
let it breathe. Yeah,
let it breathe a year or two, and then bring it back.
Right.
And that way you're just not walking. I guess because I'm so used to where they did The Walking Dead for like 4 or 5 years in a row. I don't want to see anything doing like that. Let me miss it a little bit, and then bring it back and make me excited.
Right. Right.
So the number one then that we both agree on is Slaughter Cinema 2. Mm-hmm. And this is one, Adam, I'm going to go ahead and let you lead off with this. Give me your thoughts on this one and why this is number one on your hype list.
Well, according to the BioReconstruct aerial photos, they're already setting up the screen. Mm-hmm. And they're already setting up some of the cars, or the areas for the cars,
right,
to look like an old drive-in. So you're going to see those trailers for those films as you're in the queue.
Right.
You're going to hear that old music. You're going to smell probably some popcorn or some, cotton candy once again or something like that. And just from the immersiveness of the queue, you're going to be ready. Now, this is, I know for the diehards, probably number one most hyped.
Yes.
And I feel like this is a house that, let's say that you don't know much about HHN. Mm-hmm. And you come just because you're a big fan of Quiet Place or Ghostbusters. This is one that you're going to stumble into, and you leave, you're going to go, holy shit,
yeah,
what the hell was that? Or, as to put it, what was the Yeti house? What the hell are those things? So it's going to be one of those kind of houses. Yeah. It's going to blow your mind. And we're supposed to get a spaghetti western, mm-hmm, the Mardi Gras murders. What were the other ones? The
one Christmas one.
Christmas one. The Heavy Metal Hell 3D,
yes, uh-huh,
and several others. So we'll see. This, I think that they're going to take Slaughter Cinema 1 and amp that up and really pull it together for this one.
I couldn't say it better myself, because now the original Slaughter Cinema, I missed out on that year.
I did
sadly
too, but it's well regarded.
Yes, it's well regarded. There's I know they're not the best quality, but I've seen some videos of it on YouTube.
Yep.
And enough to where it gets me hyped. And I mean, this is one that we've talked about for years that we'd like to see come back. I know, yep, like when we did that video of like the houses that got away. I can't remember if we picked it as one or we just discussed it as like
right.
A
yeah, that's definitely on there.
Uh-huh.
So it was one that got away, and now we get to get the part deuce version of it. So
exactly, and this is another one where we're talking about bloody houses. This is going to be a bloody house, and it's going to be a violent house, I feel. And it's like you said, it's going to be one where they're in your face.
There's going to be some comedy too, because the other one had a lot of comedy too. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be this comedy, violence. It's just going to be really well. It's good, like your anthology movie, like a good anthology, like Creep Show or VHS or any
Trick
of
or Treat.
Trick or Treat. It's going to be just a really good anthology for you to sink your fangs into. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed with this one.
No, I don't think so either. And it's kind of like you said, that like with the diehards, a lot of the diehards that I've been talking to, mm-hmm, this is the one that's been at the top for them, and like with good reason. Like I said, the moment they announced this one first, they knew it was going to get the diehards hyped up. That's the reason why they done it that way.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I'm super excited for it. I cannot wait to get to this event. Only thing I need to know now is I need that confirmation of where the houses will be so we can make our game plan of where we're going to move around the park.
Yep. Oh yeah. And it's shaping up to be a good year. We're both really excited for the year, mm-hmm, guys. And if you happen to be there, we will be there on The do you remember those dates?
We'll be there the week of September 8th, but we'll be there that Wednesday and Thursday night event.
Yep, that's right. And we're going to do the tour as well as as many houses as we can get our teeth into, and try the foods and drinks. And
Yep, we'll be at the Coconut the Thursday night before the event.
Yep,
No, excuse me, the Wednesday
night we'll be at Coconut chilling before we go in, and might check out some of the hotel lobbies as well, just to see some of the immersive things that they offer, or they're claiming to offer.
So if you see us at the event, don't be afraid to stop by. We'll get a selfie together. You never know, we might film you to give us an outro to tell everybody to stay spooky and subscribe. That's always fun to do.
Yeah, or if you just want to run a few houses or have a drink or talk, or that's fine too. And also, yeah, what was what else were we going to be doing besides the tour? Was the Coconut? You just said that.
Yep.
And yes, it's going to be a fun year.
Yep. So, friends and fiends, leave in the comments your hype list as well. I'd like to see those. What do you have as your least excited house to go into? What's your most excited? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, and also reach out to us, DM us on our socials. If you're going to be there that night, you want to hang out. That's the best way to reach us. What would you say, Instagram?
Instagram's probably the best one.
Yeah. Just send us a DM on there, and we're happy to respond anytime. So remember to stay spooky, and
it's hot. It's steamy. It's blood and guts time. Shout out to them. Without them, they give all the HHN info for you guys. So, like, subscribe, do what you got to do.